Oh yes, show the close-up of the boobs. That's what we want to see. So today, folks, is the 6th of December 2024. The official Indiana Jones and the Great Dirkle Circle are now online for those to see. And shockingly, the reviews I've watched from G-Man Lives, Mr. Matty Plays, ACG, and now I am going to be looking at IGN's overall review, say that this game is either really great, a bit janky in places, but overall, it's not a bad game. So the question I have to raise is, why were Bethesda and Microsoft trying to not have earlier reviews out during the week? Were they not confident about this? Because from what I've seen, it doesn't look too bad.
Yes, hallelujah, it's the video show. And now, the man the BBC calls
Jason King on Kung Fu Hot Dog.
So here we are, ladies and gentlemen, at Metacritic.com. 86 is the general favorable review, so if I'm not mistaken, this is actually done better than Dragon Age the Fail God. I wonder if their phrase "a return to form" for Bethesda is actually here. Probably not, but what do they say? So games, I think that's the Czech Republic, a magnificent, immersive, smart, thoughtful action-adventure game that doesn't bend the original to studio needs or the game genre, but the opposite, probably the most faithful adaptation of indie's adventure you've seen yet. IGN Benny Lou, Indiana Jones and the Great Dirkle does full justice to the franchise. What they mean, the films as well? Maybe the last two films? The game is truly packed to the brim, as in of his fedora, with humor, mysteries to solve, fistfights fitting for the series, and the fantastic locations to explore while unraveling the mystery of the Great Dirkle. So yes, you go to Thailand, you go to Germany, Egypt, so you definitely do see that. And one of the more clever things I've seen about this game, that whenever you start up from your last save point, the actual loading screen is that save point. It's really cool. I don't think it's the first time we've ever seen this, but it seems to be a new thing that Bethesda are exploring. So Xbox achievements gave it a 90, Game Reactor UK also the same. So they're all saying at the moment this is a good game. Now I've seen a few videos yesterday where some footage actually leaked of the first 3 hours of the game, and people were saying the same thing again, that it doesn't look terrible. And I said in the reaction video here on Monday, I think it was Monday or Tuesday, that again, what the biggest problem I have with the gameplay, that again, some of the third person aspects when indie transitions from first to third person mode, it just looks a little bit, man, what graphics are we looking at here, bro? Even the Emperor's Tomb had better graphics for its day, but that's the only thing that I have a problem with. And again, the character design of Gina Lombardi just looks so ridiculous. She's got an attractive face, but why do they give her such a short bloody haircut so she looks like a dude? And mind you, this is Machine Games' first game, I believe, where it's a PG-13 of sorts, because all their other titles have been rather mature, haven't they? That before they were actually Machine Games, there was Starbreeze Studios who made the Chronicles of Riddick video games, which I also have, funny enough. I haven't played them yet, so what they're saying is that those earlier games are now kind of going full circle where this franchise lands.
You ain't no nun, sweetheart.
It's been over 30 years since I wore out my VHS copy of Indiana Jones and...
Oh, Luke Riley. Actually, I like this guy. He's probably the only male IGN journalist I like from that website, because he normally reviews racing car games and the like. So for him to be reviewing this is interesting, actually. So I do like Luke from Australia.
...in The Last Crusade. Since then, the film franchise has been in a state of escalation. Where do you go after uncovering the literal Holy Grail? Aliens, then time machines, apparently. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is the perfect antidote to all of this. One that uses its own figurative dial of destiny to propel us back in time to Indy's prime. The result is easily one of the best indie stories across both the games and the movies, with painstakingly detailed environments, wonderfully atmospheric tomb raiding and puzzle solving, a pitch-perfect score, and quite possibly the greatest punch sound effect in the business.
And of course, folks, when I see this, I just think of my beloved hero Nathan Drake just shimming across a ledge, or even Lara Croft herself doing it. And ironically, the thing is, if you didn't have Indiana Jones, you wouldn't have those two other great video gaming franchises, right? That is the truth of the matter.
And stealth, where guns are rarely and barely a viable option.
And that's why in Uncharted 3 there was less gunplay and more fisticuffs and brawling, because apparently Naughty Dog received many complaints from concerned parents that Uncharted 2 relied too much on heavy gunplay, which makes me laugh considering you had Call of Duty and those other games out at that time as well. So what was the difference between those, right? And Nathan Drake?
That little guy packed a punch.
That said, with the founding members of Machine Games all hailing from fellow Swedish studio Starbreeze, Machine Games' DNA admittedly runs much deeper than Wolfenstein.
Again, just give this chick a different hairstyle, make it longer, make her look like a woman, and it'll be great. But she looks like Edward Curtis, you know, the man with the LGBT shirt who likes to talk about the...
Now we have the opportunity to tell a new Indiana Jones story for a modern gaming audience.
He is in the role.
Legend says that the Great Circle does have some power, something about its geometry, a deeper force that connects these sites.
Credit too must go to voice actor David Shaughnessy, whose unerring version of Denholm Elliott's Marcus Brody may go...
It's not Denholm, dude, it's Denim! Denim Elliott, denim like the jeans! Or jean shorts.
Just run away from your problems.
So is John Rhys Davies in this as Salah Indy, my friend? So I wonder if he's back in here again. I'm getting so excited now, I'm just chucking a microphone all over the place.
Indiana.
Marios Gavrilis also kills it as the slimy and sinister Nazi archaeologist Emmerich Voss. He spits his dialogue with such venom, I imagine his microphone may have required a tiny umbrella.
Kirche haben Sie das verstanden?
So one thing that I haven't seen in this review, and I've only seen it mentioned in G-Man's review, that there is a time that you have to go on a mission as Gina, but what he said was, it's actually laughably funny when she tries to punch a guy that she gets her ass handed to her.
There's a lot of times where you're sneaking around with Gina, and thankfully if she gets into a fight, it's not a game over or anything like that if she's knocked out. In fact, it's actually kind of funny watching her try to fight back against the soldiers, considering she just kind of gets her ass beat.
Some pundits may claim it belongs in a museum, but museums are for dusty old relics you shouldn't ever touch. The Great Circle doesn't belong in a museum. It belongs on your hard drive.
Wow, holy shit, a 9. I was expecting an 8, but this is Luke Riley, so I'll give the guy some credit actually. Again, this kind of reflects a little bit badly on IGN in some respects, because remember when the Dragon Age The Fail Guard came out? Oh, it was a resounding 9, it was amazing, and then days later they had to walk back their reviewing articles saying, well, Dragon Age Veil Guard wasn't really that great a game. But again, the reviewer for that particular game is a trans person, so of course they would align with that particular game, because Corinne Bush is obviously a dude trying to be a woman. Poor fella, needs to get some help. Really do recommend a good psychiatrist, Corinne. It might do you the world of good. But having heard this, and again, the gameplay, the actual game file is 130 gigs. So that's just pretty nonsensical. But again, the game is meant to be between 20 to 30 hours, which is amazing. And it does have a hard mode. And I've heard if you play in the hard mode and Indy gets ganged up by a lot of enemies, it's hard to fight them off and you're dead as soon as you know it. So again, you know, I might have gotten this wrong, and I will admit that. All things point, and look, and again, some of the earlier reaction videos I'd seen where people had early access to it, all said the same thing, that it's a good game, but it leaves a little to be desired where it comes to the actual design and the punching. It feels a bit clunky. So I don't know. And ironically, this was a reviewer who got flown out by Bethesda to stay in a swanky hotel and to play 3 or 6 hours of the game. So again, folks, I'll probably pick this game up at some point because I love Indiana Jones. I love Nathan Drake as the successor to Indy. I do wonder actually if we're going to get I wonder if this will actually reignite interest in us getting a brand new Uncharted game made by a different studio at Sony. And again, I'm gonna go off a little bit of a tangent here, folks. If the people behind the RoboCop game from last year were allowed to do this, we could have had a very interesting interpretation of Indiana Jones. And from what I've been told, George Lucas and Steven Spielberg assisted with this development of the game. So it might do some good numbers actually in terms of sales. I mean, if all the good reviews are coming out, I would hope to think people might go out and try this game or download it onto Steam on their PCs. So we'll have to wait and see next week, folks, what happens. So are you surprised by this video of mine? Again, you know, when I have to weigh up the pros and cons of a video game, and if it actually does turn out to be good, again, a bit of mismarketing from Bethesda. What you could have just talked about the game instead of having some strange overweight blob of a man talking about the modern audience. You could have just removed him from the proceedings and people might have been a lot more excited for this game. And again, some of the action I've seen here look great. It's the Machine Games sheen all over it, and I think that's a really good thing. So if you were me, folks, and if I were you, perhaps you might return for the next video.